So today I'm watching this YouTube video of Ben Shapiro sitting there talking about how 20 years ago Jon Stewart went on Crossfire, a CNN show, and this was a show that engaged in public discourse. And Jon Stewart just went on and totally, absolutely wrecked media forever, political commentary forever. We never were the same because this one guy, in a single moment, just wrecked all media and nobody ever recovered. Okay, how do you do this, Ben? So Ben Shapiro proceeds to talk about how, back in the day, media news outlets would have these shows that would engage in civil discourse. And you'd have the Republican versus the Democrat, and, they would just talk over each other and kind of debate out the issues somewhat amicably. And that was that had some element of truth to it. I mean, Ben Shapiro's not completely in the wrong on some of that, on some of what he's saying about how shows used to be and how it was more peaceful back in the day, or at least less divisive back in the day. But here's the thing: back in those days when it was those shows, it was kind of starting to tear. So it seems like it was more brought together than it actually was, but it was not going in the direction. It was going back then in the direction of Republican versus Democrats. It wasn't as peaceful as Ben Shapiro's making it because it was terrain still, even back then. It's not really Jon Stewart's fault. Furthermore, Ben Shapiro goes on there and he doubles down and he says, well, today's media is trying to emulate Jon Stewart, which they are, by trying to bring comedy into their show. So now they're entertainers more than they are presenters, I guess, or discussers, or I mean, thinkers, philosophers. And so a lot of engaging deep thoughts are missing. Now it's more segregationist. Ben Shapiro has a point on that. That okay, you do have Fox News does their thing and they have their conservatives. And so it's kind of only around people who are like them. And CNN is the same way, MSNBC is the same way, and all of that. Um, Now, here's the crazy thing. You know who else is the same way? The Daily Wire. And don't get me wrong, I love watching Brett Cooper and Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson and Candace Owens and all of that. I'm glad they all have a platform. But let's not pretend like these people are always adding a liberal host to counter their talking points. Because guess what, Ben? Sometimes you people are out of line. And here it is. Ben Shapiro's talking about how modern media has become too much about entertainment rather than intellectual discourse. And Jon Stewart ruined that because he's the one that kind of turned politics into a comedy show. Okay, I can see how you could draw that. But what I can't see is how you're drawing that conclusion that that is a bad thing within a week of going viral for putting together a rap video that is meant to bash people who disagree with you. Ben Shapiro didn't just put together a rap video, kind of having fun with him being himself, but then puts it up there specifically for the purpose of belittling others for disagreeing with him. And I, I I'm not pro woke by any means, but put this together for me. I mean, was that a good thing or was that a bad thing? Here's what I'll say about it. Okay, it's not just the hypocrisy. It's not that simple. It's not that hypocrisy is not that big of an issue. What is the problem for me really is the is the animosity towards somebody who's actually kind of giving you an extra tool in your toolkit to use to connect with people who are otherwise disconnected from you. You see, Jon Stewart gave politics an open door to comedy so that you can use it to benefit your your agenda. You can now use comedy as a way of relating to people, which you could do before, but now you can do it in an even better, bigger way. It's very important to make people laugh with you and to let you know that to let everybody know that you're a human being. I mean, it's actually important even to let you know that yourself know that you are dealing with other human beings and they want to live good lives. Part of living a good life means enjoying life. And this world needs a lot more enjoyment out of life. And we need to learn to laugh and laugh at ourselves. So the door was open for guys like Ben Shapiro to do things that are more fun so you don't get locked into being. My dad defended O.J. Simpson. You can come up there and you can joke and say facts don't care about your feelings, and you can engage in things you would otherwise not be a part of because that's your culture. You have that access. So, because of groundbreaking efforts from people who happen to be different from you, they think differently from you. Now, I'm not saying you need to come up there and you need to come in and go, "Wow, you're great, you're doing a wonderful job." But at the same time, like you need to have a little bit of a respect and appreciation for the fact that people do give you an advantage and taught you an advantage that you can use in your arsenal that was not available to people several years ago. You are able to make your job a little more enjoyable for yourself and a lot more enjoyable for your audience by being more like by using this gift that Jon Stewart gave to the world, which is humor. It's not that Jon Stewart invented it, it's that he extended it. Have some respect for that. if you're going to use it, or don't use it. Either respect it or don't use it. Or preferably, I mean, if you don't appreciate it, then don't use it. But at least respect it. Because no, Jon Stewart didn't tear this country apart. It was going. That rip already happened back then. Jon Stewart just exposed the cut for what it was. And once in a while, he'll throw people who disagree with him a bone. But here's the thing is this, am I that excited about Jon Stewart hosting once a week? No, not really, because here's the thing about it is this, he's just going to be barely there. He's not that smart. Ben Shapiro's right. He's kind of a hack. He's a little more than kind of. He's very much a political hack um, for one side of politics. And now, with less attention on his show than what he was getting before, he's going to be even more so because he's got limited access to his audience, which means he's going to want to say what message he wants to deliver more uh, well, in a shorter period of time. And he's not going to have time to come out there and throw the conservatives uh, bone once in a while to say, yeah, I can laugh at the Democrats, I can laugh at myself too. He was a lot more able to do that when he had a lot more weeks in. Now, Jon Stewart is coming up there once a week, which means what? He's going to talk about what issue he wants, and he's going to find the liberal side of politics to be more significant. So he's not going to kind of go, okay, this side has a point here. You're not going to get that as much. That's what's going to go missing. You're not getting the same guy you had before. And maybe, or if you do, then it's not going to feel the same. It's not going to have as much time attached to it. It's not going to have as much thought attached to it. And so Jon Stewart is back on the air, back on his original show, which is still going to be a lot more thoughtful than Trevor Noah was. Trevor Noah was as ignorant as it gets. Why? Because he was one-sided, and he never was really willing to listen to absolute reason and sit there and consider, maybe people disagree with me for a reason. Maybe that reason is because I'm wrong, and they're right once in a while. Jon Stewart at least gave that conversation to people on his show back when he was running it. I don't think that's going to be the same anymore. I don't think he's coming back to be that guy. I think he's come from a time when it was more important to isolate yourself from those who disagree with you. So he's not coming back to that era. And at the same time, I don't think Ben Shapiro is the voice of reason that goes, we can engage in civil discourse. Really, what's the name of the show again? The Ben Shapiro Show? Who's hosting it with you? Oh, you're doing it yourself? Huh, that sounds familiar. One-sided biased opinion, right? It's nice when nobody argues with you. Ben Shapiro did the rap music video specifically for the purpose of being cringe. But Ben Shapiro's rap music, it's funny because people are like, oh, I don't like Ben Shapiro's rapping because it was, stupid or it was, cringe. He's a nerdy white guy. They should not be rapping. Well, what do you think an old Eminem is? What do you think pretty much any rap is nowadays? It's the same old thing of people talking trash, talking over each other, trying to trash talk. And guess what? It's so easy to do it. I sat there, got my car worked on today, and then sat there at the car repair place and at the car shop. And guess what? I was able to write in a trash talking poem at Eminem just because he threw up two middle fingers in a football game. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it's not hard. Now it's hard to put it into a rhythm and into a beat. I'll give you that. I mean, and it does take some talent to have the courage to put it forward and announce it to everybody. But uh, so I mean, in the business side of it, you got to deal with a lot of that and everything. But rap is, far as like just for the purpose of talking smack, is not. It's old now. And Ben Shapiro's a lot of late to the game, not just because of his age, but because of the age of rap. It's getting older than the people who are using it. Because rap's not being used for love songs, it's not being used to glorify God very well. It's not being used, I mean, not that there's not Christian rap and, love song rap out there that's good to listen to, but it's just not as powerful, not as prevalent in the mainstream American media as it as the good rap music should be, or at least the ones with the love songs attached to them, or the kindness things and the life lessons and things. It's not the worst genre of music. It's not a horrible beat or anything. It'd be a lot of fun to dance to if it wasn't always the same talking smack in the mainstream rap. It got old, especially political rap, even coming from the conservatives. I got bored with it pretty quickly. Um, and so the rap music that came out over the last couple years with, the pro-Trump and the anti-woke, like, all right, I've gotten it. You hate Biden and you're annoyed with liberals, and I get it. I really do. But I'm getting old, and so is your music. Guess what? You're not the only rap music I'm getting sick of. It's not just conservative or woke rap, it's all crap. Until you can stop talking crap, until you can start giving love and actually caring about people. Not complicated. So, furthermore, it's not just political media. Ben Shapiro said it was a political media, sports media is getting bad with this. Shannon Sharp was on talking about one of the players from one of the teams going to the Super Bowl this year. Now, instead of going, wow, this guy took his team to the Super Bowl from an impossible situation, he goes up there and says, well, he's not. He still deserves all the criticism he gets. He's gotten all this help and all this stuff. What do you think Tom Brady got? What do you think Michael Vick had in college? Who taught? You think somebody didn't teach him to go do all them push-ups? What do you think Shannon Sharp got all those years? Did you or did you not go to two teams that and win Super Bowls with elite defenses? Was Neil Smith on your team before you won the Super Bowl or not? Was Ray Lewis on your team when you won the Super Bowl with the Ravens or not? Did you, by the way, who was the strength of that Ravens team again? Was it the offense or the defense? You won two Super Bowls with John Elway. Great. He's a Hall of Famer, right? Yeah. And then won another Super Bowl with, okay, but he also won another Super Bowl with another quarterback on his team, Trent Dilfer, considered the worst quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Well, how did he do it? Well, let's see. There was a special teams ace on the team named Jermaine Lewis. There was a running back on the team named Jamal Lewis. There was a linebacker, or hold on, it was Jermaine something. I think it was Jermaine Lewis was the special teams guy. Jamal Lewis was definitely the running back, and then there was a Priest Holmes as the other running back. Ravens ain't now after losing Priest Holmes. Ravens never went back to the Super Bowl until Ray Lewis's final season. Ray Lewis, Peter Boulware, they were the reason that Ravens team won. Were they not? I'm not gonna say it wasn't Shannon Sharp, but don't act like you got there that Hall of Fame on your own. You didn't. It's not even close. Don't act like Shanahan wasn't a great coach for you. Don't act like Brian Bellick wasn't a great coach for you. Don't act like you didn't get help from your brother. Even your sports career, even your sports talking career, you go up there right now and you're running your mouth on sports talk right here. And cool, now everybody recognizes you. You're a household name. They call you Unc and all that. Yeah, how'd that happen? You can sit there and act like you did it all on your own. Nah, man. Nah, you went on a debate show. And when you went on that debate show, you showed up to work, you debated, but who showed up to work with you? Your teammate, Skip Bayless. Say what you want about him, and he says some crazy stuff on TV. He said he says some wild stuff and brings up some talking points and some shows and things, and of course Skip is wrong. But one thing about Skip is he was a teammate on those shows, and he made everybody else on camera look good, even if it made him look bad. You can hate him all you want, but that's one thing he did for everybody was make sure everybody else on camera looked good, even if he meant he had to look like the bad guy. And you can hate on him. You can say, "Oh, he's sketchy. Oh, you don't know the full story and whatever went behind cameras all you want." But I know what was on that camera, and I know what people said about him and how he was off camera. And I can tell you that dude helped you out a lot. I've seen it. I've seen him step aside and just set you up. And it wasn't just oh, you got me and my feelings are hurt. It was, here you go. I want you to do well because we're on the same team. We're on the same show. Because you didn't do it all on your own. Even then, even now, today, you need help. So when you go up there and you criticize somebody for needing help, for having help around him and having a great crew of people around him to help him. Let me ask you this question. How else was he supposed to do it? You think he can do it on his own? Did you do it on your own? Maybe you forgot this, but not even close. Oh, you can acknowledge everybody else when you're giving that Hall of Fame speech. You can acknowledge everybody else when you're giving that Oscar speech. You can acknowledge all the family and all the friends and all the people you had along the way, put tears in your eyes, put tears in everybody else's eyes. But when we need you to do that, is not when everybody's going, he got a big golden trophy thing. Look, he's got a brass stick for the shelf. Now, when we need you to put that when he needs you to put that speech on, it's when people are attacking you. It's when people are calling you out. It's when people are calling you down. It's when you want to fight back. That's when you come in and go, listen, yeah, you're right. I'm messed up. Along the way, I've had all these people who have helped me along the way, and they've all had my back all these years. I couldn't do this on my own. You're 100% right. Yeah, I'm not the best because I got the best team. I'm not the best. My team is the best. And that's why I look the best. That's why I've had the best life and the best career. You know, if Tom Brady would say that, then he'd be the most inspirational man in sports. If Shannon Sharp would say that, he'd be the best sports commentator ever. He would say that. He would say, hey, this is a team game. Nobody does it on their own. And guess what? Yeah, Brock Purdy has a lot more to prove because he's got a lot more teammates now. He's gotten a lot of help. He's had a lot of success. Now he has to pay it forward to the next group of people in line, and he's got to do it from a young age. That's a lot of responsibility put on a young man. Can he do it? We're about to find out. But he's got to get to the next level still first with the team he's got. He's got to put in the work to show his appreciation for what's been given to him because this is a success story nobody else has had and nobody else could get on their own either. So when he gets up there, he better go up with some humility and he's going to have to grow up a lot faster than most people will in that because this is a once in a lifetime, one of a kind opportunity. And just seeing this kind of success, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity that people have to go out of their way to look for it in order to experience it. And you can experience it, and we're very blessed to know Brock Purdy. And Shannon Sharp do that. Or do we just want to run our mouth and go, no, he's still not the best. He's still not good enough. He's still not as great as Patrick Mahomes. He's still not as great as Lamar Jackson. He's still not as great as Jalen Hurts. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Shannon Sharp, Jerry Rice, name them. Wayne Gretzky. Let's go back to Tiger Woods. Ain't nobody ever done it on their own. I've had a great life myself, once in a life story. Amazing life. Been more places than I can imagine. Certainly could have never imagined that life I had as a kid. Not super rich, but I live in the richest country in the world with the richest opportunities, so uh, pretty filthy rich compared to what I could be. And that's because why? I had great people around me, invest a lot of love and a lot of faith from a lot of different places, and I owe a lot of appreciation to them. Just like everybody else who's had any kind of blessing in life. Just being alive came with the prayers and blessings and hard work and overachievements of people and sacrifices of people that I do not deserve having help me. And so I have a responsibility, make my life into a prayer for other people that come way after I'm gone, regardless of whether they live here or anywhere else in the world, even if they live among places I would otherwise hate as my enemies. Doesn't matter. I have a responsibility to them, not from them, but I have a responsibility to them that came to me from other people who came way before me. And so instead of going out there and looking at the people who came before me as somebody who's messed up my life, if I didn't have messed up people going out of their way to make sacrifices that are unthinkable on my behalf, I wouldn't even be alive, let alone have any of the other rights and blessings and gifts from God that I've got. And neither would you. That goes for your life too. Oh, yeah, you might have had a hard life. Yeah, I've had a hard life. Great life, yes. We've all had great lives and we've all had hard lives. Just being alive is great in today's world because it was not easy to bring us to this world. It wasn't easy on anybody. It's not convenient for anybody, for any of us to be alive. We know that, but we're not here to be convenient. We were brought here to be responsible for the inconveniences placed on others who took those inconveniences as their responsibility to sacrifice so that we may have the same power to sacrifice for others so they can appreciate us plus all the others who came before us on their behalf. And then they can carry that blessing on and on and on and on. And this whole blessing just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the fact that it doesn't end with us is a blessing. But it was a team effort from a team much bigger than we could ever imagine. Every success story is the same. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Have a good night.